to me, climate change is an existential threat, and maybe the most important issue that we have in front of us. And because of the Koch brothers, who made their billions in fossil fuels primarily, and Citizens United, Republicans have now stopped actually admitting that we have a thing called climate change. And because they worry about, I'm on the energy committee, it's one of my committees, and they just don't want to be primaried. And they know the Koch brothers will dump 10, 20, 30 million on them, and they're worried mainly about being beaten by a Republican. And so, I don't want, in 50 years to have my grandchildren say to me, "Grandpa, you were a senator, you knew climate change was happening, why didn't you do anything? And also, why are you still alive?" Because I'll be like 116. So I'm getting hot here. So Cruz, I write about Cruz as the exception to the rule. Cruz, he's like a toxic coworker. He's like the guy in your place in the lunchroom who puts fish in the microwave. He's that guy, and he just doesn't work with anybody else. And his word isn't good. And I back all this up in here. I do explain why I take some license there, made an exception with him, and he really is the exception, proves the rule, because you're in a small workplace. You have 100 people essentially who have the same job, and you got to work with them. And Ted doesn't. Another story. I'll just tell some fun stories. So he got off to a very, very bad start, offending people all over the place. And about 3 months into his term, I guess he won in, I guess it was in 14. So in 2000, in March of 2015, Amy Klobuchar, my senior senator in Minnesota, who's very funny, she was asked to do the gridiron dinner. And Amy will not let me write a joke for her because she doesn't, if people ask her and she wants to say no and she wants to be honest about it, but she will run them by me. And now you'll remember at that, during that period, there was, wait a minute, I guess that was 2013 because he's running this cycle, so it's 2013. So that was about when the Carnival Cruise thing happened. Remember, the Carnival Cruise went out the boat, I guess, the liner, and it died. The electricity went out, and it was there for like 10 days before it got towed in, and nothing worked. And it was nicknamed the Poop Cruise because nothing worked, and it was not pretty being on that ship, and people wanted their money back because that was their vacation, and you don't want poop floating around your feet during vacation. That's not a good vacation. You got to admit. Okay, so Amy wrote a joke, which was when most people think of a bad cruise, they think of Carnival. But we think of Ted. Okay. So I said, okay, well, that's a good joke. I got to rewrite that I think is better, Amy. And I'll tell you that's the end of the story. So the next Thursday, I see Amy kind of going around the floor, talking to Chuck Schumer. And I knew she had a joke about Chuck. And then she went to another senator who I knew she had written a joke about. And then she heads over to Cruz. And I went, I want to be there for this. So she goes up to Ted, and I make myself part of a conversation triangle, I guess. And she goes, I've written a joke about you from doing the gridiron dinner, and I have a joke about you that I'd just like, get your permission to use. And he goes, well, what's the joke? And she said, when most people think of a difficult cruise, not bad, she says difficult cruise, they think of Carnival. We Democrats in the Senate think of Ted. So she softened the joke. She went from bad to difficult, and she's gone from we to we Democrats in the Senate to soften it up a little bit. And he goes, what if you changed difficult to challenging? And I see Amy, and he sees it too, go like, okay, now it's not funny. It's just not funny anymore. And he can see that. He's very smart. And he goes like, I'll tell you what. I believe in the First Amendment. You go ahead and tell your joke. And I went, oh, God, I don't like him. And I said, Ted, I've actually done a rewrite on Amy's joke that I think is a lot better. Do you want to hear it? And Amy, I see Amy go like, oh, no. Al's going to do this, and I want to be here for it. So Ted goes, sure. And I go, okay. When most people think of a cruise as full of shit, they think of Carnival. But we think of Ted. And the thing about it was an entirely fair joke. And you'll just have to take my word for it until you read the chapter in the book. And then you'll go like, okay, that was completely fair. I'm glad Al did that.